Hey everybody, today again coming from my backyard in beautiful sunny but uncharacteristically cold Southern California, Los Angeles. In this video we are going to talk about how we can settle second mortgages. So if you have a second mortgage on your home and you want to settle the debt, okay, so what that means is you're going to pay typically a lump sum of money one time and the remainder of the debt's going to go away. You guys know my favorite number to use is 100,000. So if we use a $100,000 example, you only want to settle for 25 cents on the dollar or 25% settlement, you would have to write a check or send a wire for $25,000 and the other $75,000 would be forgiven. We call it a debt settlement, debt forgiveness. It would result in the lien being taken off the property, which means you would never have to go back and pay that $75,000. Okay, so I'm gonna take you through the way I analyze these files or I analyze these situations, matters, and then you can kind of piece it together on your side and then let us know if you need any help from the legal standpoint, okay? So the first thing to look at is how much do you owe on your first mortgage, okay? In my example, we're gonna say that you owe $400,000 on your first mortgage. The next thing to look at is how much is your house valued at, okay? Home value is the second most important indicator after how much you owe on your first mortgage. If your home value is $350,000 and you owe $400,000 on your first, you are in a very good position to get rid of your second mortgage. However, the inverse or the flip of that is also true, which means if your house is worth $600,000, you're not in as strong as a position to get rid of your second mortgage. Okay, because the second mortgage analysis is if we foreclose, how much money are we going to get? And when the second mortgage forecloses, what do they have to do? They have to pay off the first mortgage. So if the house value is only $350,000 and the first mortgage is $400,000, after they pay off the $400,000 post foreclosure, the home value is only $350,000. They've already lost $50,000. Okay, the inverse again is true, right? So the inverse of that is if your home value is $600,000 and they foreclose, they pay off the first, which is $400,000, and the remaining is $200,000, which would go to them. Okay, so if your second's going to be getting $200,000, it's then important to look at how much money is the second. If your second is only $200,000, probably not a great position to do a settlement because they're fully secured. Now, before you turn this video off, it's still possible to do a settlement, okay? Because these lenders, especially the ones who haven't been paid for a long time, may be very hard up for cash or very interested in turning this into a profit for themselves. It depends on the status of the loan, who holds the loan, the city that the loan is in, okay? There's also a few other factors. Have you ever filed bankruptcy? To me, that's an important factor, whether or not this debt has been discharged or whether or not this debt still carries personal liability. They're also going to look at your financial means. Do you have the income to pay them more money? Do you have $500,000 in your 401k? Do you have $500,000 sitting liquid in the bank? Do you have other funds available to you in a second property from an inheritance? Any source of funds would be important in this scenario. But before we get down to the minutia, before we start looking at even your income, how much you want to settle for, the biggest indicators, I'll give you three. One, how much do you owe on your first? Two, what's the value of the property? And three, how much do you owe on your second? Those are the first three indicators for you to look at. Based on the equity position between those three numbers, between those three figures, you can start to determine the possibility of a strong settlement on the second mortgage. Once you determine whether or not you want to try the settlement, you then have to start looking more into the minutia. Have you ever filed bankruptcy? What's the household income? What's the household assets? Are there any outstanding circumstances that we need to understand before we get into this negotiation? One other thing I want to leave you with, I am not a tax attorney, but I will still mention this, is sometimes debt forgiveness can create tax liability. So before you make the decision to try to settle your second deed of trust, your second mortgage, your HELOC, whatever that second position you want to call it, also go through the scenario of would I have to pay taxes on this, okay? The IRS rule is any tax forgiveness over $600 is 1099, so it can be considered income and then is taxable. However, there are several ways of not having to pay that taxable income on the 1099, but that is something you should discuss with your attorney. You can contact us again, Sternberg Law Group. We're always available for free consultations to discuss your matters, or you should talk to your tax professional CPA. So, how much is my home worth? How much do I owe my first? How much do I owe my second? From there, we can really start breaking it down. Okay, so if this is something that fits, like us, subscribe, or like I said, set up that free consultation. Okay, hope everybody's well. Have a great day.